Stampin' friends. I had a request to show how I made some cards, and so I'm going to do that for you today. These cards with the little fall vignette, like how exactly I set it up and what order to go in, things like that. I don't know if you remember these cards from last week. So I was so excited to get a request, so I thought, absolutely, I'm going to show you how I did it. One thing I wanted to show you real quick first is a tip. When you have a little bit of white showing, and I don't know if there's any way you'll be able to see that, but I cut it this direction, and there's a little bit of white from where I cut the paper, because this designer series paper does have a white core, unlike our regular cardstock. So I'm just going to show you what I do is I just run the regular marker, the mini Marvelous markers, in the same color, which is Cajun Craze, across the bottom, or whichever piece doesn't have solid looking color. It looks like you can see the white, and I don't know if you can see that, but it really helped. And you can't see where I did it because I just did it along the edge. I didn't draw on it like this. I just went along the edge. So that's a little tip for you today. And that's for the base of one of these cards. It'll look nice. Add some embellishments. Okay, so the way I did this, I used Pool Party and Seaside Spray for the sky, and just kind of used a variety of both colors when I put that in there. But the way I started the whole thing was to stamp in Peacock, Pretty Peacock, the teal color, with the pond piece. I'm going to ink it up well. And then I stamped it across kind of close to the bottom of my 2.5 by 3.5. So 2.5 by 3.5 piece of paper, Whisper White, of course. And I want to leave room so I can put the trees up there, but I also want to get a little, not too terribly close to the bottom, so that I have room to work. Okay, so I stamp that. And then the next thing I want to do is use soft suede to stamp my trees. Gotta make sure it looks like it's inked up. You never know. And then for my trees, I just did them as close on the left as I could. Sorry, I have to get my head over it so I can see. Close to the right, I mean. It's your left when you're looking. And then off the page on this side, I did just a little bit of trees over here. And then the next thing is the little deer. So I just put them like right here, stamped them, and they have a little bit of texture to them, so they tend to look a little bit grainy. So what I've done a couple of times is just use this actual marker, the crumb cake, to kind of smear it. I don't know if that makes sense. It kind of fills in the space. Since it's water on water, it fills in the space. So you may like that look. I actually decided, well, it's really not that bad. It kind of looks kind of like where you can see the deer, as if, because they would have some variation in their fur. So anyway, so it's just kind of whichever you like on that. If you like the variation, just leave it. And if not, you can color it in with a lighter color, not the full soft suede, but like a light crumb cake. I mean, it would be a good, not light crumb cake. That makes it sound like I'm talking about blends. I'm not. Oh, good. I got some blue on the bottom. That'll be kind of a problem. When I do that, I have this little eraser that I use. It's just a little sanding block kind of, except it's more intense. And that will often get a lot of the color off when you have a problem like this on your card. I think I've about got that. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is add and I did not get it out, gotta find it, my, I can tell which one's the front, soft seafoam which I'm using for the ground. So what I'm trying to do is just fill in all of the space with the soft seafoam. And so I stamp it many, many times in many directions. And this is the one I think that someone thought that I was somehow getting like a variegated texture with using just sponge daubers, and yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. So I can totally understand being like, that doesn't look like that's how she did it. But yeah, this is another one from the same set, this Snowfront set. But also in the waterfront set, there would be probably just as many possibilities for ways that you could do this. Now, it does take a little bit of time. I mean, I'm having to stamp and stamp and stamp. But what I end up liking about it is that it ends up looking kind of like, and see, I'm not even worrying about stamping over the pond, because that'll just give the pond a little more color, a little more variety in the way it looks. But anyway, I'm not even trying to keep it neat or anything, because to me it just kind of makes it sort of flow. The other thing you could do if you wanted to is you could put in, you know, I live in Oklahoma, so I'm not going to have a lot of brown grass until it freezes. But you could put some so saffron in here, and that would make it, you know, have more brown into the grass. Okay, so now we've done the grass. We're moving right along. The next thing would be to stamp using Daffodil Delight on the trees. So I just used some of that and added them all around. I want to try to, sometimes I get a little carried away, so I'm trying to show restraint. So I've got the Daffodil Delight ones. And the next thing I'm going to do is do some pumpkin pie, just to give it a little bit of, again, variety. Okay, now that I've done that, I can put the pumpkin pie away, and I want to use, let's see, set these someplace safe, my Seaside Spray and my Pool Party. And then I need to get my So Saffron. So I think it's easiest to do the So Saffron first, but you could do the So Saffron last. It doesn't make a difference. But just to kind of fill the space of the tree, because you don't want a whole lot of sky behind the tree necessarily, because the way I've done it is it's like the leaves are still completely on the trees. They haven't started to fall. Or we would put some speckles down on the ground. So there's that. Oh, and of course I'm looking at this and thinking, I need a little more green over here. Why I shouldn't put things up. Okay. Then with the Seaside Spray and the Pool Party, then I just kind of go over this, and I didn't actually have to be all that careful because most of my trees and things are just kind of brown. And so all I'm really avoiding is going into the leaves very much. And it's fine if it gets on the edges, because then it just kind of turns green on the trees. So to me, it's fine to just kind of go over the browns. So there's that. And then if I just want to add a little bit of variety of color, just add a little bit of a more true blue is what the Seaside Spray is. I get soft sea foam and Seaside Spray. I just have all kinds of troubles with that. So there's that. The edges. So anyway, and I've got one more problem there that's kind of just looks a little strange. I've got a floating tree. We don't need a floating tree. That's not what we're going for at all. So I'm going to go here and add just a little more soft sea foam. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it 2 or 3 times right there so I can get it filled in like the grass is growing up around the trees. There we go. All right, so I think that you can see how I did that. And there's a ton of different ways you could do it, add different colors into the leaves. You could put more color on the sky or on the grass. So anyway, I hope this helps someone. Thanks for watching.